Okay, this is a less of a how-to video and more of a showing off video of a mod for the Super Nintendo Game Genie. This one is missing the front piece. It's flimsy. It regularly breaks off. It would have the Game Genie sticker in the front, and it just like flips open and closes to close on these older style cartridges. Alright, so the thing with the Super Nintendo Game Genie, especially the earlier versions, I'm not sure if there's newer versions, but this one says version 1.0 1992. They don't play games that are made in 1993 and after that. They'll play the older games that have, this is my Super EverDrive, it used to be a Pilot Wings cartridge. They'll play the older games that have this extra plastic on the front. And what you would do is you would obviously film top, and the front thing would go in this part right here and lock in. However, with newer games, well, they obviously don't work with Super FX games, but this is the only game I have that has a newer style front. With newer games like this, I think they started making them in 93. 93 and until the end of the Super Nintendo life cycle. They would not boot up. You would have just a blank screen. Sometimes games would boot up, but then it would freeze. Such as Chrono Trigger, you can see the clock, but then it'll freeze before you reach the save files. Super Metroid just didn't boot up at all. So here's a mod I did, and I found this. This is not a mod I came up with or discovered myself. I found it on nesdev in an old forum topic because it really bugged me that I couldn't play new games with my Game Genie. And yes, I know there's a newer Super EverDrive. This is the old version 1.6 with no Game Genie in it. Yes, I know I could have gotten a newer Super EverDrive and have built-in Game Genie, but it would just been inconvenient to have to buy another one. Also, I think I have used the Super EverDrive version 2 before, and I think it didn't fully work also with newer games, like such as Mortal Kombat 3. When I tried to put Game Genie codes in for that, the game booted up, but the codes didn't work for some reason. So whatever. I'm fine with using the old Super EverDrive along with the Game Genie. You just have to make sure you select the game first and then boot it up with the Game Genie. So the mod is, these are 100 ohm resistors. You have to use 6 of them to replace 6 out of 8 of resistors. I think they're in this area behind. I'll open it up and show it. This is the original resistor, one of the 6 that I took out. I don't know what resistance it is. I mean, if there's anybody who can recognize that. Sorry. Let's see if I can. There you go. If you can recognize. Sorry for my dirty finger. If you can recognize the color coding on this, then you can tell how much resistance, what the value is of it. But these are 100 ohm resistors. I used 6 of them to replace 8 of the resistors in here. And I'm going to pause the video, open up the Game Genie, and show you what it looks like. And it's a very simple mod. I forgot to show, it's very easy to open the Game Genie. There's 4 Phillips screwdriver screws. They come out easily. When you have that tab in the front, it comes out from these holes easily. So that's all there is to it. So let me open it. Okay, so when you first open it up, you're greeted with the back of the PCB, and you take it out. So it was in the front, actually, the resistors, when I originally brought it up. Here are the resistors. So as you can see, the ones I replaced are bigger than the ones I didn't replace, which are these two right here. I think they're pull-down resistors according to the NESdev topic, and you can just skip them. But these first four right here, and then these last two, you replace them all with 100 ohm resistors. From this side, it'll be the first two and then the last four when you're desoldering them. It's not too hard to desolder. I suggest a desoldering iron, not one of those. I guess you can do it, but it's harder to do when you use a soldering iron and one of those cheap solder suckers. But you can do that, I suppose. I use the desoldering iron though. So yeah, this is it. That's all there is to it. On the front, the first four resistors, and then the last two. So 6 out of 8. You can leave these in. And once you do this mod, every game will work. I've tried new games, all new games, on my Super EverDrive. And they all boot up. Before I did this mod, they wouldn't boot up. And heck, even sometimes they would erase files too. They erased my file on my Super Metroid when I tried to use it. Luckily, I backed up the file from the SD card. So yeah, I'll pause it and I'll show a little demonstration of Chrono Trigger booting up. Okay, so I have the Game Genie in, Super EverDrive in, Chrono Trigger is already selected. Boots up. Got Game Genie. Now, if you without the mod, this screen still shows up. It's just that newer games won't boot up. I'm not gonna bother putting any codes. I'll just go into the game. Start game. Now with Chrono Trigger, you will see this screen, the pendulum, whatever you call it. That comes, but when you press start, it'll freeze right there before the save selection, but it didn't freeze thanks to the mod. I'll show another game. Okay, rebooting it. I selected a new game. Game Genie screen. This time I'll put a cheat. This is for Super Metroid. The code: skip intro and start on planet Zebus when starting a new game. This is very useful for saving time, and for when you want to do the reset glitch hack. You get to save your regular missiles, so that's why I like to use it. And also to skip that really long, annoying story in the beginning of the game that I've seen like a million times because I've played this game dozens of times, hundreds of times. I love this game. Okay, I'm gonna hit start game. Okay, so Super Metroid does not boot up at all without this mod, but with it, boots up just fine. Okay, gonna start a new file. Set my controls here. And there you go. Cheat worked. Skipped the whole intro, the series station. And I'm right on Zebus right away. Saves you about a minute or two of gameplay time. So there you have it. That's a mod that you can do on your Super Nintendo Game Genie. If you don't have a Super EverDrive like me, it'll help. It'll run games that have this type of plastic, and instead of only being able to play games with this type of plastic in the front. So yeah, that's it.